You know, it doesn't matter what we do, how many fights in a row we put on, how many times these guys perform. I mean, I was reading Twitter tonight, these people were ripping on the flyweight. Let me tell you what, if you didn't like that flyweight fight, please, I'm begging you, don't ever buy another UFC pay-per-view again. Don't ever buy another one. I don't want your money. You're a moron. You don't like fighting, and you don't appreciate great talent or heart if you didn't like that flyweight fight. That kid fought his ass off tonight. Look at his face, going after a guy who was incredibly talented and picking him apart and moving and everything else. The kid never gave up. He went 5 strong rounds. And when I get on Twitter and I see that stuff, I get crazy, man. It's just like, please, 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 those of you that said that, I don't want your money. There was a guy here in the Toronto Sun, and I know guys who write stories like this because they like, you know, they like to be whatever. But when you do it and everything that you say is inaccurate, incorrect, and makes no sense. This guy, Steve Simmons, wrote a story. Steve here tonight? No? Good. Steve, raise your hand. I'd love to talk to you. Where are you? Come on, baby, be here. No? This guy writes a story, basically calls us the juggernaut, N-O-T. The juggernaut, N-O-T, okay? And cites all these things like the attraction, our biggest attraction, our number one attraction, Brock Lesnar walked away. He was never the number one attraction. George St. Pierre has been forever. I've said that a million times. If you did your fact checking and your homework, you would know that. Number 2, the pay-per-view numbers that the company used to brag about have gone stagnant. When the hell have we ever bragged about our pay-per-view numbers? We don't even give out our pay-per-view numbers. Incorrect fact number 2, my friend. The television ratings on Fox Network, which is supposed to take the UFC to more people, has yet to hit its stride. Well, the ratings for Fox 1 peaked at 8.8 million. Fox 2, 6.6, Fox 3, 2.5, and 4, 2.5. Total viewers, 16 million people. People who have never even watched the UFC before saw the UFC that night. Wrong again, my friend. And sadly, the card that follows in Toronto at 153 has been ravaged with injury, so this won't happen. And he's talking about how basically shitty this one was. We did a gate of $2 million. All right, and just to hit you with some more facts, my friend, who read a couple blogs and went to a couple forums and then wrote a story. We've held 10 Canadian events, including tonight's, from April 2008, Montreal, Vancouver, Toronto, and Calgary. In Montreal, Toronto, and Calgary, we broke the all-time record, beating the Rolling Stones and other great acts like that. Total attendance for 10 events was over 200,000 people. Total gate revenue for 10 events was over $45 million, and the economic impact for the country and all these cities is over $100 million. Wrong again, my friend. And I could go on forever and ever, but the top 5 pay-per-view draws in this company are George St. Pierre, Anderson Silva, Chael Sonnen makes the list now, John Jones, and Rashad Evans. So there are your facts, my friend. It just, you know, and I sound like, I know everybody's going to say, oh, he's getting defensive. No, I'm not defensive. It just pisses me off when people write inaccurate stories just to be a dick.
No, we haven't been able to get an x-ray, but they think there might be some, maybe nerve damage in the bicep. So, I don't know.
In no way, shape, or form did I think Vitor was going to, you know, I said, you know, Vitor tends to freeze and stare sometimes and not let his hands go or whatever. You know, Vitor showed up to fight tonight. Vitor gave it everything he had. He went for the arm bar. And like I said, he answered a lot of questions. I mean, if you're still asking questions about John Jones' chin, can he take a punch? Can he do this against a striker? He went in there tonight with a guy who can punch, was mentally prepared, and was motivated to win this fight and hit John Jones in the face and try to knock him out.
How would you rate your performance coming off of tonight's fight, and what do you think it's going to take to get the fans behind you like they were before the whole controversy surrounding UFC 151?
I would rate the performance. I think it was a good performance, but there's definitely a lot of room to improve. You know, Vitor had me second guessing myself. I just got to get more comfortable in the octagon. You know, I worked so hard on my stand-up and so hard on my wrestling and things. I definitely need to embrace jiu-jitsu more and be a person who practices what I preach. And I definitely preach being a mixed martial artist and, you know, being passionate about all martial arts. But I can admit that, you know, jiu-jitsu isn't something that I do every day. So I thought my top game looked really poor. I think the ground and pound was pretty good. That's something that Greg Jackson really prides himself on, is having good ground and pound. Striking was fair. And as far as getting the fans behind me again, I think I have a lot of fans behind me. Obviously, there's going to be people who support you, and there's going to be people who want to see you fall, and that just goes with being in the position that I am in. But the biggest thing is just to focus on the people who is pulling for you, rooting for you, want to see you make it, and just focus on them. I just remember going into the second round, thanking God that I had gotten out of that armbar, and also thanking God for the adversity. You know, it was like I worked so hard on my cardio this time, so you know, I think when you're out of shape, it creates like frustration and confusion in there. But when you can breathe clearly, you think really clearly. And I honestly thank God when I sat down for having a hurt arm, just to prove to myself and prove to my coaches that all the speeches and all the stories that they tell me about warriors, just to be able to prove that I can be a warrior as well. So I was grateful to be able to come back from something.
Vitor said that when he felt your arm pop, he eased up a little bit on the arm bar, maybe instinctually. Did you notice that, and did you capitalize on that?
You know, if Vitor eased up, you know, that's just a testament to what type of person he is. You know, he's just a phenomenal person, and I really, really respect fighting him. You know, he's just an awesome, awesome person. So that's just a testament to what type of guy he is. You know, he's a warrior, but if he did ease up, you know, something inside of him telling him to do that, that's just a testament to him. So hats off to Vitor for just being that classy of an individual. In there, you know, I felt as if there was a point where I don't think physically he could have extended it even more. I mean, it was popping, and I felt, you know, after 25 years, I've never felt that feeling before. And, you know, I just came to terms with what was going to happen. You know, I was just thinking, man, you know, I can't believe I'm getting ready to lose this way, you know. You know, I don't think it could really extend too much farther than what it did, and it was pretty numb after that had happened. And I think I remember the first time I actually punched with it, I just felt like it had no power on it, and I was just like, that felt funny, you know. But yeah, so man, just hats off for Vitor, man. I'm just so honored to fight him. He's just such an amazing guy.
Good try, Ariel.
With what?
Good try.
With what?
Oh, nothing. Go ahead and ask the next question.
Valid question. John, your walkout song was an interesting one. It was "Could You Be Loved" by Bob Marley. What kind of message were you trying to send there?
You know what? I fight out of love, and you know, I try to fight for the people who respect me and love me. And I knew I was gonna get booed, but I honestly felt as if the crowd turned around. If you were clapping, you can't be mad. You can't boo when Bob Marley's singing. You just can't do that. So it worked out for me for sure.
John, you mentioned in the, over here to your left, you mentioned in the interview with Joe Rogan that aired on the prelims, I guess, that the DUI set you free. And I was just wondering if you could kind of clarify what you meant by that. I mean, how did it set you free, so to speak?
Well, you know, I just looked at it as a blessing, you know. It's like, you know, I've made a lot of dumb decisions in my life, and you know, I really don't know how to answer that question. It was just a blessing in disguise, man. It's made me grow so much as a man. It made me grow as a father and as a husband. You know, I've just done a lot of stupid things, and I was getting away with a lot of stupid things, and you know, just going through it and realizing the seriousness of the world and how everything could have been changed for my life really motivated me and to do things better and do things right. You know, grow up. So, you know, I meant what I said, you know, and I'm just really grateful for, you know, being here, being alive, and you know, being able to grow and take things a little more serious.
And in the fight itself, were you surprised that Vitor wanted to be on his back, you know, against you after what you were able to do after the armbar in the first round, and then given your reputation for, you know, ground and pound?
Yeah, no, I'm not surprised. You know, Vitor has a black belt under Carlson Gracie, and that's a very respectable black belt. So I knew he believed in himself. You know, that was one of the intimidating things about Vitor, outside of his big muscles. He's a guy who truly believes in himself. So when he pulled guard, you know, it was something that he would do back in his Pride days too. He pulled guard a lot. So I wasn't surprised that he did it, and I wasn't surprised that he believed in himself off of his bat.
John Jones is without a doubt, one of the greatest talents we've seen in this sport in a long time. John Jones is just catching his stride right now. We've had a great year and a half in the run that he's had, and we've had some rocky roads. We'll put it that way. And there's no doubt he's on his way to being one of the greatest, maybe of all time, maybe breaking Anderson Silva's record and becoming the greatest of all time. It's not just about winning fights, it's about managing every aspect of your life, which it looks like he's on his way to doing now.